I am Monica from Educk.org. Today I will show you how to create photorealistic curtain material using SketchUp and V-Ray. Let's go! I placed the curtains in the scene. You can download the curtain model from the link which is in the description of the video. Let's move on to the asset editor. I created material. It is called material curtain, and so far this model is gray without any reflections and bumps. This material is applied to the curtain model. Let's see how it looks in the visualization. We can see that the gray color material is applied to the curtain and the model looks very good. High quality material applied to the curtain will make a very realistic effect. Let's move on to the asset editor and then focus on the diffuse tab. I don't want to leave it as it is. I want to use a Falloff map. This is a gradient between two colors. I click on the texture slot and then look for a Falloff map. It's here and I click on it. I can choose a gradient between two colors. I will choose a red for color A and blue for color B. If we go back to the previous settings, we can see what the sample looks like. We have a gradient between red and blue color. Let's check the render. As we can see, red and blue have been mixed up and it looks very interesting. Now we know how the Falloff map works with the material. I don't want to use this Falloff in the Diffuse tab, but I will use it in the Opacity tab. In the Diffuse tab, let's clear the texture slot. I right-click and choose Clear, and then I go to the Opacity tab. If the opacity is set to 1, which is white, then we have no material transparency. If the opacity is set to 0, we have 100% transparency. Something in between, we have 50% of transparency. Thanks to this, the material slowly begins to look like a curtain. I don't want to set a single value for the opacity. I want to use a Falloff map. In some places, the transparency will be higher, and in the other places, it will be lower. I click on the texture slot and then choose Falloff. Here we can choose two colors. Black and white are too contrasting, so I'll change them a little. For color A, it will be a dark gray color. And in the color B, it will be a slightly lighter color. Thanks to this, the 2 degrees of transparency will blend with each other and the curtain will look much more realistic. I go back and see that the sample has been updated. The important information is if you have uploaded the map in the texture slot, it doesn't matter if the value is set to 1 or to 0. The most important is the texture slot. These values don't matter anymore. Let's render it. Transparency has already been achieved in the visualization, but this curtain is too transparent. This is due to the fact that there is no texture applied in the Diffuse tab. Let's change it. I go back to the Diffuse tab and I will load a map here from the folder. You can download this file, it's in the description of the video. The texture looks like this. And I will upload it to the Diffuse tab. I click on the texture slot, bitmap, and click on the file. I go backwards and render. The scene is created. Note that there is no translucent effect. To achieve this effect, we should replace the generic material with a two-sided material. Then we will get a very interesting effect. I go to the asset editor, create an asset, material, and select the two-sided material. So far, this material is empty. In the front material position, we should upload the material curtain, which we have just created. Below there is a Translucency tab. So far it's set in the middle, but we'll be changing that as well. Note that the new two-sided material has not been applied to the curtain model yet. To apply this material into the curtains, we will do it very quickly. I right-click on the material we created 2 minutes ago and then select Objects in the scene. Thanks to this, the object with curtain material is selected. Then I move on to the two-sided material. I right-click and choose to Apply to Selection. After a while, the two-sided material has been applied to the curtain, and let's check the render. This is what our scene looks like when we use the two-sided material. To compare this with the previous results, let's see that on the left side we have the result of a generic material curtain, and on the right side we have a two-sided material. I think that the right side looks much better. The important thing is translucency. This tab is here. If we set the translucency to a low value, we can see in the visualization that the effect is not going to be very good, but it's best to check it. This is what the material looks like when the translucency is set to a very low value. In fact, it looks the same as when we use the generic material curtain. Let's see what it looks like. On the right side, we have very low translucency, and on the left side, we have 50% of translucency. Let's check what the material looks like when the translucency is the highest. This is what it looks like when the translucency is set to maximum value. If we compare it with the other visualization, we can see that the translucency is very low on the left side and very high on the right side. Now the translucency on the left is set to 50% and on the right to 100%. We can decide for ourselves what effect we want to achieve. Remember that it's very important when creating curtain materials to set the opacity. If I go back to the generic material curtain and then go to the opacity tab, I can change the opacity. I want the curtain to be less transparent. I increase the indicators for both color A and color B. The material is less transparent. I can set the translucency to 50% and let's check the effects. This is what the material of the curtain looks like when we increase the opacity. We can compare it with the previous views, and that's the difference. Therefore, we can choose for ourselves what the curtain effect we want to achieve, more transparent or more opaque. This is also important to create the generic material first, and then assign it to two-sided material as we did in today's video. Now you can create any curtain material you want. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Check out my website educk.org with even more SketchUp courses. Thanks for watching. Bye!